Hello again. I'm going to go over how I paint on a single layer successfully. I've seen this in the comments from time to time, and I never really thought much about it because this is just how I always do it. And since there's so much or so many questions asking how to get started on just working on a single layer, I thought I'd go ahead and do this video for you. Alright, to get started, I learned art in a traditional manner with traditional materials, pencils, pens, brushes, canvas, drawing paper, that sort of thing. So when I transitioned to digital media, I kept the same workflow. So I think going over what and why I do what I do will make things clearer. Right now I'm working on a demo. It's on a single layer. I'm using the same brush 99% of the time, and I try not to blend at all. If I do, it's usually by accident, and I keep it at 100% opacity. These are the very basics of the approach I use to paint on a single layer digitally. I have to go back for a moment to talk about my mindset I have when working digitally. Always think about how I work in acrylics, because that's the closest analog I have for working in digital, because acrylics being the most forgiving medium, if you make a mistake or have muddy colors, just wait for 30 seconds when everything is dry and paint another layer over your mistake, and that's it. When I'm working in digital, it's even easier. I have unlimited undos, and I can paint over any muddy color with another opaque color. So with this in mind, I've freed myself from any expectations of perfection during the painting process. I continually correct, modify, and refine until the very end. I have complete faith in this process. It's never let me down, and it's proven its utility to me time and time again. Okay, for starters, I start with the largest areas of the painting first. In this painting, it's the sky and the grass. This is the number one idea, working large to small. To keep this in mind when you start, because you want to not start slipping in the habit of doing detail right from the beginning. Details are all at the end. The second idea is not to blend. I went through the same period of blending fascination, just like everybody else did, where I just blended everything to death. It killed the color. I made mud. It was terrible. It just had to stop. So the technique I use, I just put a color down next to a color or over the top of that color. If I have to adjust it in some way, it'll either be manipulating edges or correcting the value hue, but never blending. Next idea is to use the same brush for everything. I like using different brushes, but I found that if I have tons of brushes, I'll spend all my time looking for that brush for a certain effect, and I'll spend less time painting. So I use one brush for everything, and I just develop the technique needed for those specific painting applications using that one brush. Let's see, I tried to use only opaque colors. This gives me the ability to correct a mistake with a single stroke. I don't have to worry about the complications of transparent colors. I try to keep it as simple as possible, so I concentrate on as few variables as I can. And you don't need to make this process any harder, and it isn't hard at all, but you don't want to make it more difficult for yourself. The other thing is to not use layers. You might think I only use it to test something, but then it's just too easy to slip back into painting with layers all the time. There's nothing wrong with using layers, but if your goal is to start and finish on a single layer, then breaking the layer addiction cold turkey is the only way. Because a painting done in one layer and a painting done in multiple layers have very different looks. With layers, you have the opportunity to neaten things up and to keep it very clean, whereas as on a single layer you have a messier, more painterly look. With this method, you might think you can only achieve a certain level of detail or complexity, but you'd be wrong. The beauty of digital paintings is that you can drill down almost infinitely, adding more detail because of the technology that allows you to zoom into pixel level. And you can make as large a canvas as you want with an extremely pixel dense canvas. But that's all I do. There's nothing magic about it. It's a simple method that I apply every single time, and it's worked every time. It's never disappointed. I hope this has been helpful, and I'll see you next time.